Welcome back. Welcome back. Twins at Law, episode number 2. I'm Michael Fletcher.
I'm Matthew Fletcher.
We were arguing and debating the Deshaun Watson issue, and we are going to go back and do all 24 accusers. We're going to take each of their allegations, their complaints, and we're going to go through each of them. And again, the point here isn't to suck up to anyone. The point here is to put these things into context and to also kind of give this guy, all people are entitled to context, and especially given the NFL and their kind of duplicitous nature, we're going to point that out.
Well, this is to suck up to me because I am literally appalled by the treatment that the NFL hands out to these young men. I think it needs to be highlighted. I think it needs to be spotlighted.
How about the golf tour?
And as we said, we'll get to the Live tournament, but specifically about the NFL, the treatment these young men get is horrendous, and it is just emphasized. It's magnified by Deshaun Watson's treatment. I mean, literally, the allegation that you called 66 massage therapists in a year and a half, and that subjects you to being banned from the NFL is just racist trope about, this out of control young black man. And I can tell you this from experience, a 24-year-old young man who only tries to have sex 66 times in a year and a half.
That should be investigated.
That needs investigation immediately. And anyone who's honest about it, including, I don't want to be honest about it, a young man who's 24 years old, he's handsome, he wants to have sex, that should not come as a surprise to anyone. It certainly shouldn't make you susceptible to being suspended.
Well, and just on the same context, the fact of the matter is that this guy is paying women to come and do something. And the truth of the matter is it's not illegal. And I don't care what anyone says. The NFL says it doesn't have to be illegal. But if it's an accepted premise, accepted principle, the part of this story that drives me crazy are real victims of sexual. Right. There are women who have been horrifically assaulted. And when you equate a woman showing up for a third time or my favorite one was where the woman says, and he ejaculated on my face and I didn't know it. Well, what's your face next to his penis for? Right. When you equate that to a woman being assaulted, being raped, being mugged, it's crazy. Let me finish. Yeah. And Nobody has said, wait a minute.
Because they're not going to say, wait a minute, because these commentators are hoping and praying that they can say just the right thing to get them an ESPN job or a network job. This has nothing to do with sexual assault. This has nothing to do with rape. It has nothing to do with violence towards sex workers. Those are crimes. We have established, 2 separate grand juries have established that Deshaun Watson did nothing illegal, nothing without consent,
but to put that
nothing without him paying
context.
for. Let me finish, as you say. The only context that is necessary in this is to put it in the context of the NFL, how they treat players versus, owners like Bob Kraft, who they literally have videotapes of him having oral sex and other forms of sex with young women who may or may not have been trafficked. And the argument that because it was an illegal search or seizure, so it didn't happen, is bullshit.
Well, but if you, again, and I was just going to put it in context to say that the fact that 2 grand juries didn't indict an African-American young man in Texas is not uncommon.
Well, it's fucking proof of sainthood. Let me tell you this is what Bob Kraft said. He said, I have an extraordinary respect for women. My morals and my soul were shaped by the most wonderful woman, the love of my life, who I was blessed to have as a partner for 50 years. His wife died 9 years before he came out with this statement. And he made this statement to make an apology and say, please forgive me. And then he denies having sex with the women, except it's on videotape, him having sex with these women. The women that he supposedly respects and honors, and each one of those women who were caught on tape performing for him at his payment and his request were fined thousands of dollars. They were jailed, and that's the real hypocrisy of this. This gentleman got women to perform sex acts on him. He claimed, I thought they really liked me. That's why I went back the second time. Who doesn't love a 77-year-old round white guy who walks in? I bet she couldn't. She woke up and said, "I just can't wait to suck his cock."
Well, it's and yes, it's literally that's creepy. But
the creepy part is he pulled up in a Bentley and had the guy wait for him.
Well, the creepy
10
part
minutes
is he went
before
on,
the hours.
But I give him credit because he went
charges.
for the happy hour special,
Right.
which I'm just like, that's a strong move.
Well,
that's a strong move. But
I don't know if I want a $59 blowjob.
But
Not sure.
But here's the thing, though, is that to me, you put it again in context with the players.
Right.
It is what Deshaun Watson is being crushed, and Bob Kraft, literally, there's no question about it. He did it repeatedly over and over again. And again, into context, I'd look, the percentage of sexual workers working in brothels, it's like 94% have been trafficked. So if he went 3 times, that means there's some percentage of certainty that they were trafficked. But the issue really is this, and this is where I go to. If you can't do that, that's fine, but let's make it clear. But if you look at what the NFL is doing, is one standard for Bob Kraft, the moral, guidance or guider. What would that be? The moral linchpin? No, the titular moral
What's
head.
the saying when you've dug deep enough, stop digging?
I don't know, man.
Guider, huh?
Guider.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, he's the guy that they hold up as being the morals backbone of the NFL.
You mean the guy who gave $1 million to Donald Trump and his best friend?
Oh, that's a non-issue for them.
Well,
and even
not if you want to grab him by the pussy. It's called mentorship.
Well, that's there you go. Another difference there. But my point, and I think it's all of our points here, is just how they treat these players is appalling. And it's this DeMaurice Smith piece of shit who I can't stand, and his absolute lack of standing up for players. There is nothing illegal. There's nothing unethical. There's nothing wrong if you are a person paying to go to one of these places and getting a hand job. It's what happens.
But that's
it's what happens.
You're empirically wrong. We can prove you're wrong. There is something wrong with a 24-year-old African-American young man trying to have sex because the guy couldn't play last year and will get suspended this year.
So what's wrong? Why is that wrong?
It's wrong because you have a group of people who
that doesn't make it empirically wrong. That makes
we can compare one to the other. That's empirical.
Well, if empirical is a written known fact, then it's not empirical.
Okay.
But here's the truth. Well, let's say this empirically. There's one standard for athletes and another standard for owners, and what Deshaun Watson is being put through. And what drives me crazy are the shitty, spineless players who are playing today who won't say, wait a minute. I can go, if I beg for a blowjob, I can get suspended. If I go to a stripper and at some point in time in that I ejaculate, I can be suspended. There is not one contemporaneous fact that has ever been reported relative to Deshaun Watson that would in any way, shape, or form expose you to criminality as the grand jury has pointed. And yet here we are, and this guy's just getting crushed, and the NFL Players Union doesn't say a fucking word.
But the difference is this.
Then Pat McAfee dumped on the guy the other day.
Well, he's a punter.
But he's been right, dude. He's been right, and he's been hitting it.
But that's when you have to start worrying.
Yes.
When a guy has it right over and over, but all of a sudden we have unanimity that all of a sudden Deshaun Watson is the second coming of Satan. Deshaun Watson has committed no crime. Deshaun Watson paid for whatever they negotiated for. And most people in the real world today agree that a sex worker should have the opportunity to market and sell whatever they choose to sell. If these are sex workers...
So long as not children.
Sex workers children couldn't consent. These are all people of advanced age and know what the hell they're doing. And they got on the plane and they packed to get on the plane. And it's the old country song, did I shave my legs for this? There's some reason you flew to Houston and you went to the motel and you went in there and man was taking off all his clothes and was butt naked with a heart on and you didn't turn around and leave?
Well, and again, I think those facts are as clear as you can. But the issue, and yes, and we're going to spend a lot of time on it, but the issue really is this retrospective criminalizing of people's sexual proclivities. Right. It's the Dodgers dude,
Trevor Bauer,
and again, I'm kind of open-minded sexually, but that dude was a weird dude. But turns out it was fucking consensual.
Yeah, we'll do Trevor Bauer later. But let's get the facts out.
But what I'm saying,
when a person says, "I want you to choke me while we're having sex," and someone says, "Okay, I'll choke you while we're having sex," that's not an issue. That literally is Monday morning pitching. I understand it's Monday morning quarterbacking to such a degree that every single man who's ever, I don't know, asked their old lady or old man for a blowjob, are you then susceptible to being suspended?
Well, and according to the Baseball Players Association, the NFL, yes. Trevor Bauer, and again, it was kinky and wild, but I mean, it was stunning when you heard what this person had agreed to, and this guy is still not playing. And we're at this point where certain players are held to a different standard. There's nothing, you may not agree with what he does. I thought it was weird, but I don't give a shit.
Why the fuck do you care what a grown man's doing in the bedroom?
Well, that's my point is I don't. And in this scenario, and this guy is without a job, and it's because people are retrospectively looking back and saying, we get to inquire what's going on in your bedroom. We right now are losing our mind because of Roe v. Wade getting ready to go away. And it's the exact same thing with these players. We're criminalizing people's behavior in the bedroom.
No, we'll get back to Trevor Bauer later. Let's get back to Deshaun, because at the end of the day, what you're talking about is a situation where nobody could even possibly equate oral sex from a sex worker who's given you oral sex before as being kinky or weird, unless you think missionary is really pushing the envelope. And what you're talking
Reese is like, it doesn't?
And what you're talking about here is a situation where the government literally, because you understand, the NFL only exists because they have these antitrust exemptions.
Right, I agree.
This is the government who, so when they say tell those boys not to take a knee, those boys better not take a knee, because then every single owner gets along with that. Deshaun Watson has been sat out and said, you are a pariah. What did you do? I asked for a blowjob. And even if you're going to accept, he begged for a blowjob.
Which I think is a better story, because he did beg for it, and it's like begging. That can't be against. That can't be a penalty.
If begging for a blowjob from someone you're having sex with is a crime, every house.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's outrageous.
Every husband in America, baby, please. What the fuck happened when we were first dating? I got blowjobs all the time.
And what's crazy is he didn't even. It's literally you. So you should ask for a blowjob one time. Does it have to be in writing, or can it be? Can I text you? Can I? He texted me an emoji asking me for a blowjob, and I was offended. 8 months later.
Right after I was contacted by a civil attorney, he said, we're going to make millions of dollars and you're not going to even have to testify.
And this is one part that fucking drives me crazy is they are hammering this guy because he refuses to settle.
Right.
I'm telling you, I've won $170 million in verdicts and settlements. That is the reason they have not hit a trial, is because those people are going to get destroyed at trial. Rusty Harden is going to destroy them. Here's the discovery that goes out.
No one knows who the fuck
Rusty Harden is Deshaun Watson's defense lawyer, who's an amazing trial lawyer. He is going to
know where else he represented?
Didn't he do the dog guy?
Roger Clemens.
Roger Clemens, but this is Roger Clemens did, but.
How the fuck do you know Roger Clemens did?
Because I'm not an idiot. But the truth
hypocrisy is fucking stunning here.
That's not. It's just everyone.
You don't met Roger Clemens.
I don't need to meet Roger. Have you seen his record?
I have.
Have you seen it pre New York Yankees versus post New York Yankees? All right, you're right.
Yeah, he really.
And Barry Bonds.
He sucked as a Red Sox. He won no Cy Young.
Yeah, but
let me tell you the funny thing about lawyers. Here's a quiz question for you. Which person do you think is probably the guilty, bad sexual offender? The one who has Rusty Harden as an attorney? Rusty Harden represented Roger Clemens, the great Roger Clemens, in front of Congress? Or the one who has Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer?
Didn't Rusty Harden represent Michael Vick too?
I don't know, Mike.
Oh.
See, that's not what I'm talking about.
I know. All right, so I'm gonna.
Who's Jeffrey Epstein, Mike?
Jeffrey Epstein's the guy who did not kill himself in prison.
No, he did not. And did he have an
Well, he
island?
did kill himself in prison when he didn't kill himself before he got to prison.
Did he have an island that he flew people to, including Prince Andrew, to have sex with underage people?
And Bill Clinton was like 68 times in that motherfucker.
Jeffrey Epstein is a sexual deviant monster by any stretch of the imagination. Guess who his lawyer is? His lawyer is a gentleman by the name of Jack Goldberger, who represented Mr. Epstein when he got the infamous deal where even though he was guilty of transporting children, minors, to be fair, to have sex with all of these people, he still didn't have to go to jail. He got house arrest, but he could only leave 12 hours a day or something of that nature. Office. Guess who's that lawyer that is, Michael? I'll tell you.
All right.
Robert Kraft.
But he's innocent. He didn't do anything wrong.
He certainly
He's the
didn't.
titular moral leader of the NFL.
He is the titular moral leader. And
you know what's crazy about that Epstein?
Not the guider.
You know what the crazy thing about that Epstein is, and I used to do this joke about why Islam is worse than, is more problematic. In Islam, they like if you go kill people.
Epstein?
Well, yeah, if you go kill people, you get to go to heaven with 100 virgins. I'm like, do you really want to go anywhere with 100 virgins?
It's like every
I know.
Everybody on podcast.
You don't. Do you really want?
Everybody on podcast is a frustrated comedian.
I'm an actual real comedian.
He was going to deliver that.
I'm an actual real comedian, and it's hilarious. I mean, the truth of the matter. That's why I like. This is why I like Tiger.
Hilarious.
This is why I like Tiger is because he wasn't looking for virgins. He took out a chick from Denny's. He's like, give me the slutty 28-year-old waitress from Denny's. That's what we want. I'll take 50. You take 100 virgins. I'll take 3 waitresses from Denny's. Holiday.
Fair enough. So, Bob Kraft.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Episode 2.
Episode 2 is wrapped.
All right, we're going to, just like that?
Just like that.
All right, well, episode 2, you see where we're going to go. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about our personal involvement in the nutty criminal justice system that it's one of our favorite lines in, the fix is in.
Right.
Before
we leave, let me tell you the line the fix is in. One of the people I represented was Suge Knight, and at the beginning of this whole fiasco, which we will go over in detail, it's stunningly interesting. No one knows the facts. I know the facts. No one has receipts. I have the receipts. Fix is in.
It is in, and there are multiple fixes. But here's the truth: if we don't, by bringing attention to these things, we could maybe help, fix it.
We could certainly make a change. But format-wise, we're going to go 24 through to handle each one of these accusations. Because if you understand, there's a saying that says a brick doesn't make a wall, but enough bricks does make a wall. But sometimes if you pull each brick off, you'll see there's no wall there. It's just a brick, and it's a brick that's intended to make money. And again, not one of these people have been found credible enough to even bring a misdemeanor complaint against them. And we're going to go through each one of them to show what the power of the system, of the government, it's impossible to withstand. And I think Watson's actually doing a pretty fair job at it. He needs to do better.
He needs to go to trial. He needs to get to trial is what I would be doing.
You think Johnny Depp would agree with that?
I think so, probably.
Maybe get
more importantly is one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to show pictures of these chicks because it's stunning. I'm just joking. It's just like, you paid for that? I mean, that's what he should be charged for. It's like, dude, for real? Well, you're a brother in shape, and that's the standard?
Can't we blame it on the white part of us?
Is he a club member?
Pretty light.
All right. Well, if he's a club member, then everything he's done is cool.
There you go.
All right. Episode 2. It's a wrap. Thank you. Mark, Reese, you guys got anything to say? No. They're professionals. We're being sexually harassed.